Hello and welcome back to Void Dreaming. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after meeting the captain, being almost tricked on Yakeshi Station by a rat, seeing an altercation between the ship's engineer, Sam, and a lion, eventually meeting, more or less, the ship's onboard AI, Oba, who is quite a character. But yeah, so we will be further introduced into more of the main cast, some more agreeable than others. And I only mean that because of one specific character. But yeah, you'll be seeing them very soon. Who I'm referring to, I don't know, you'll just have to, decide which one it is as I'm reading. But yeah, so this will be the conclusion of the prologue. Technically, I don't think you actually have to do the prologue if you decide to just, actually, do you? I think you can skip the prologue and go directly to chapter 1, but you would have to pick a preset profile, which is like are you a colonist? Are you a pirate? Were you technically inclined, etc., like that. And those things do influence the story. So if you actually want to have some control over that, you would, have to play this prologue and pick those little things out yourself. But yeah, I decided to do it because, it's content. But yeah, so without further ado, let us continue Void Dreaming. 5 consoles are arranged around the bridge in a semicircular layout. A command chair rests in the middle of the room, overseeing them all. The chair is filled at the moment by a tall vixen, her eyes focused not on your arrival, but on the brilliant stellar furnace arrayed directly ahead of you. For a moment, it looks like a massive viewport curling around the whole of the other side of the room, granting a clear view of the star and the surrounding space. A couple of small flicks betray the illusion as a projection, probably against a solid mill steel wall. If you'd missed them, you might think that the bridge was just one giant window. Sensor and defense consoles take up the left side of the room. Communications and navigation take up the right. They all look as clean and well maintained as a command chair. Your eyes fall on the helm station in the forward center of the bridge. A thick-set bear is seated behind it, tapping at his console as Zuberi steps forward and slips behind the vixen. You follow as the door slides closed behind you. Kalia, Brahm. The vixen doesn't move save to nod. The bear, however, turns his head. There is a broad grin on his face as he spots the captain, but it widens further as his gaze tracks to you. Oh, hey, welcome! His voice booms as his chair rotates away from his console to let him face you more fully. Rael, this is Bromcom, our resident doctor. Sorry, I meant to be there when you arrived. Would have loved to have seen your face when Oba displaced you aboard. It was definitely a trip. Bromka? You can just call me Brom. Feel free to drop the ka. Everybody aboard does. He nods and pushes himself up and out of his chair, only for the vixen to give an exasperated sigh that immediately saps his smile. Did you forget that we were in the middle of something? You wince. The vixen's tone is severe as she stands, and the bear folds instantly. No, I mean, yes, ma'am. I did. Apologies. See, in certain situations, you get the option to do things like this, where your background or skills or whatever are able to add other options for the dialogue tree. Normally, I would just be saying, just saying hello. But both Kalia and Bromcom look startled by your shout, but your attention is fully focused not on them, but the navigational subsystems. The chair there is larger than the others, with multiple ports for various cybernetic links to be made, a full integration setup. Yeah. You never know when you might pick up the Cybes. Most AG navigators have at least some degree of augmentation. Several of my crew are auged. We've even got a Cybe too. Out of the corner of your eye, you notice the bear sighs with relief. It seems that you've distracted his commander enough for him to relax, and he slinks back into his chair. I didn't know that we had a tech enthusiast coming on board. I thought that all we were getting was a disappointment or a threat. You blink in confusion as you glance at Zuberi. The wolf's begun to frown. She knows who you are. Maybe a touch of the respect from your institute dates might diffuse some tension. Apologies, ma'am. Please forgive me for not presenting myself as soon as I arrived on deck. You straighten up, pause at your sides as you meet her stare. Her eyebrows twitch upward ever so slightly. Rael, new crewmate, it is an honor to meet you. Her jaw relaxes somewhat as she watches you closely. Bromka in the background looks stunned. Kalia Vice Nactel? You will address me as ma'am or commander while on my bridge. She sniffs sharply once as Zuberi sighs. But you are at least off at a better start than I'd expect. Good. Consider my disappointment assuaged for now. Thank you, ma'am. Threat pending. If not for all your time on the IGA, you might have flinched. There is no way that she doesn't know about the algorithm, but explaining yourself to clients who underestimated you has prepared you for this. I want you to know something, Rael. I want you to understand it, fur to bone, bathe in the knowledge. I do not want you aboard this ship. I do not want you near this crew. I do not want whatever disaster you're next about to bring down to destroy everything that we have here. What a warm welcome. That's enough, Kalia. You allow yourself to frown as Zuberi shakes his head. The vixen's eyes don't leave you. He's here. I listened to your concerns and I made a call. The call was mine to make. The threat is managed. You don't know what that means, but you know what his tone is telling you. He doesn't want an argument right now. Kalia really seems to be itching for one, though at least not with you. She made her point. She aired her grievances. She doesn't like you. Fine. You're not that fond of her either, truth be told. But maybe sometime, and your careful silence right now could change that. Very well, sir. Well, this is progress. Will she stay, and roll over next? You fight back a smile as Kalia glares at the ceiling. The stimulant seems to have tweaked her afraid restraint. Why don't you shut down for once, calculator? No one asked you. No one ever asks you. Zuberi growls. That earns a recoil from Kalia, who suddenly seems to lack so much of the confidence that she had a few moments ago. One of his paws comes to rest on the back of his command chair as he leans over her. Why don't you secure the ship for the jump? She swallows hard, and it's plain to see that she's overstepped somewhere by going after Oba. Zuberi is using the same tone that he used on Sam with the shopkeeper. You file that tone away for later. He's not asking questions. He's issuing orders and he expects them to be followed. Yes, sir. The vixen rises from the command chair with more grace than you would have expected, given her dressing down. Her uniform barely wrinkles as she straightens up. She moves to the door without a word. It remains closed despite her presence, but a long, deep, dark growl slips from her muzzle, fingers clenched into fists. The door finally opens. Oba clearly is messing with her. Her gait is best compared to a stomp as she marches off the bridge, and the door closes again behind her. You somehow lack sympathy. I'm sorry. As you turn back to Zuberi, you can see that the wolf has settled into his command chair. His hips wriggle a little bit, as if getting comfortable there, as Bromkin rises again. Just another of the joys of command that come with the whole captain thing. Sometimes you have to put your foot down. It was my fault, sir. None of that. It's finished now. Zuberi's voice has become much more gentle as he speaks to Bromka. It's clearly helping, the bear standing up a little straighter now at least. I don't see too many. The bear glances over towards the navigational console. No one is seated, but the screen is lit and you can see commands running. You recognize your own code. It seems their navigational officer, this Tolmeni, has already integrated into their system. That was fast. Whoever they are, they must definitely know their stuff. You can't wait to meet them. She's integrated the new nav protocols and I think that she just is debugging them now. Once she gives the go-ahead, we'll be ready to launch. The bear glances down at his helm station again. Should be done in about 5 minutes or so, give or take. Excellent. Would you mind transferring helm control to my station? I'd like to take her out myself. Of course, sir. Bromka taps a few keys on his console, and the station darkens. New systems light up on Zuberi's side. You have the helm, sir. Mind if I go watch the launch from observation? The wolf nods, watching as Bromka enters his commands. Clearly he knows his way around this ship's systems. You'd have to hope so anyway. Of course, and if you see Mizz, tell him that he missed meeting Rael. His loss is my gain. The bear steps away from his station and makes his way over to you. He is a little taller than Zuberi and broader to boot, but his smile beams all the brighter. Sorry about earlier, but hey, we both survived. That we did. Shame about the circumstances, though. Bromka glances towards Zuberi for a moment, but he's focused on his console. Well, there is always next time, right? It really is nice to meet you. I hope that we get a chance to talk later and... Hey, if you get let off the bridge, come by the observation deck. The views are the best. This bear's enthusiasm is almost infectious. You may take him up on the offer. Yeah, maybe. We'll see how it goes. He nods back to you, then does the same to Zuberi. Captain? With that, he too makes his way to the exit. The door doesn't give him nearly as much trouble as it did Kylia. Oba's preferences are on full display. Oba, lock the door, please. You frown as the hum of the maglock reaches your ears. You're trapped, alone with the lupine captain. He swivels in his chair until he's facing you once more. Almost on instinct, you clasp your paws behind your back and wait silently. It just sort of feels right. They don't know. I'm sorry? They don't know what brought you here. You blink in confusion. Kylia sure seemed to have the right idea. Kylia knows because she needs to know. The rest of the crew, Brom, Tolmeni, Mizz, and Sam, they don't. Not the whole picture. Sam sure knew that you were born in the Black. What else do they know? They got to know some details. Little bits here and there. The same sort of background information that I double-checked with you on Yakeshi. He leans forward in his chair, arms resting on his sides. Nothing incriminating. You don't have to explain it to me. If my programming cost that last crew their lives, I think your presence here would do a lot to ease their fears, but you have to admit that it doesn't look good. It does not. You wince. I'm not going to tell you to lie to them. Tomorrow on third shift, I'm going to have everyone get together, the whole crew, at the same time. You'll have your chance to tell the whole story to everyone, all at once, if you want, or whatever story you'd like to tell them, if you have got a flair for the dramatic. But they know the basics, like I said, just not the most recent incidents. That's your choice, and I won't make it for you. You nod slowly to yourself. You're not afraid Kylia will spill it to the crew? Try to get them to convince you to throw me off? The wolf's face darkens. Let her try. Jump calculations are complete. Zuberi's console pings, and you glance over. You don't have a good angle to see anything, but the wolf smiles. One last thing before I send you on your way. Shifts. I told you about first shift and second shift, but whichever one you'd rather work in is your call. Do you have a preference? That's a tougher choice than it seems, and you frown in thought. First shift, from what you've gathered, means that you sleep after shift and wake to third shift. Second shift means that you go straight to play after work, but you're working as soon as you wake up, and unlike first shift, that means working under Kylia, not Zuberi. I don't suppose that you got a preference yourself? The wolf chuckles to himself. I could make the decision for you, sure, but I'd rather you have your say. I like my crew to have a certain degree of freedom. I know you've not got the specific skills in what we do here, but we can train you on the fly. Everything in your file suggests that you'll pick it up easily. You wish that you were so confident. We can slot you in on either shift, no problem. That's so very unhelpful. So, what do you prefer? Okay, I lied. I know more or less about the characters. As it stands, I know that you would get along well with Zuberi and Tolmany and Bromka. So you technically have two of these characters in both of the ships that you get along with. Or at least that I would get along with. I will tell you now that I do not like Mizz. Particularly because his sprites will have to be censored pretty much every single time that you see him in his casual attire. And I'm not partial to... I don't know how to pronounce her name. Kalia? Kalua? Just because she's very abrasive for girl, calm down. I killed the one in Mass Effect, girl. I could kill you. But she was racist, the one in Mass Effect. Oh, I'm gonna leave you here with the bomb. Anyways, but first shift. I like the wolf guy, I guess. Bromka seems pleasant enough, but Kalia, no, just no. Why would you subject yourself to someone who already has it out for you? I think that I'd like to join you on first shift, if that's alright with you, of course. The wolf smirks. Kalia, would you hold it against me if I said yes? No, I would not. He glances back down at his console for a moment. A claw tip taps the side of his mount. She is extremely competent, truly amazing, just very regimented. If something needs doing, she's always got a plan to get it done. And she's much better a leader than I am. He's being modest, and he's also objectively wrong on that last part, but you're not going to say that to his face just yet. If she can get to know you, and if her concerns really are unfounded, then I think that she might come to respect you. His brow furrows. But she's prickly, no doubt about it. You seem to manage well enough. Zuberi smirks as he leans back in his chair again. His fingers lace together and rub against each other. I've got an advantage at rank. Not too much experience with her. Kind of sounds like there's a story there. It kind of does, doesn't it? He waves a paw towards you and starts to turn his chair back towards the starry sky. Oba can show you to your quarters, or anywhere else if you wanted to wander for a bit. First shift won't be until we arrive. Estimating... Oba? Who knows? Depends on if Sam actually bothered to optimize the... Mechthon standard relays for a clean jump. I'm sure they did, Oba. I am less sure. I know that it would make for an early night, but if you can get some sleep before first shift, it'll definitely help. I guess I can't guarantee an exact arrival time. He means that I can't guarantee it. You mean Stacks. How do you compute anything? Zuberi's smile is cheeky. We usually get a machine to do it for us, dear. Oh, he's funny. He's a funny one, isn't he, Stray? He was actually kind of funny. You doubt Oba thinks the same, given her tone. If you want to see the launch, I suggest that you head over to observation to do that, but probably go to your quarters and get settled right after. You'll need all the rest that you can get. He's got a point. That's probably a good idea. I think I will. And, thanks again for having me on board. He turns back to smile at you. It's strange. You didn't think that it'd be this easy. Zuberi just trusts you. You never thought anyone would do that again. Thanks for being honest. I think we're gonna do just fine, Rael. Yeah, I hope so. He nods again and returns his attention to his console. You could probably stick around if you were quiet enough, but he definitely seemed to push you towards the observation deck. Which is tempting, admittedly, but you could also just go to your quarters. No sense being out and about when you could be getting comfortable and familiarizing yourself with your new home. You could try to seek out Sam or Kalia or even this Mizz or Tolmany, but there is no sense pushing it. You can save that for tomorrow. But for now, we're gonna go with the bear. Hyperlaunch may not be all that unique regardless of the ship that you're on, but the company makes it different this time. You can sleep after, getting to know more of the crew, even if only for a moment. It may help you make a good first impression. The door opens for you, just as easily as it had for Bronca. You smile. Maybe Oba's sensor can pick it up. Thank you, Oba.
Careful now, Stray. Keep being so nice to me and you might become my favorite.
I should be so lucky. After all, Zuberi seems fond of Oba, and Oba is exactly as eccentric as he said. Staying on her good side is the best course of action if you want to stay on his. I don't suppose that you'd be able to point me to this observation, please?
You're playing a dangerous game, setting my expectations high with this politeness. Careful now.
Around you, the corridor lights dim somewhat. A series of running lights along the edge of the floor begin to blink, leading you forward.
Just follow the lights, Stray. They'll take you there.
Thank you, Oba.
Okay, now you're piling it on too thick, and I've reached my gratitude quota for the moment. Off you go.
You smile and follow along the indicated path of the lights. Score 1 for being the nice guy, you suppose. The conveying lights on the floor pulse slowly, drawing you along the corridor and past the doors that lined its walls. Given the volume of them, the question is obvious. These are the crew quarters, aren't they?
Well, most of them.
Most of them?
Not all the crew need them. Sam prefers to sleep in engineering. Tomini tends to be more fluid in her sleeping habits.
The pulsing lights stop beside one of the doors, about halfway down the corridor.
Here you are, Commissary. Nice and close for everyone. Observatory access is just up the stairs.
Thanks again, Oba.
Think nothing of it. Seriously, think nothing of it. This whole interaction registers as little more than an anomaly in my resource allocation log.
Nice to know those resources are well spent.
It is, isn't it?
Her tone is somewhere between smug and pleased.
Run along now, or you'll miss hyperlaunch.
You don't want to do that. The door to the commissary slides open, and you step inside. The room is far larger than you would have expected it to be. A large metal dining table is set up in the center of the commissary, as clean and unblemished as the rest of the ship's interior. 6 chairs encircle it, fastened to the floor and mounted on rails that allow them to slide in and out. A drink dispenser's port seems to be mounted to the middle of the table. Convenient. Your eyes widen as they take in the preparation area, though. You'd expect a simple replicator setup, a processor to turn biomass into nutrient-filled meals. And yes, there is one of those, but that's far from what catches your eye as you stumble forward and into the room. The cooker station you find built into the wall is so much more, and more than you would have dared expect on a long-range exploration vessel. A replicator could do simple meals, but someone who's put in such a complete cooker setup with grills and infusers, someone clearly likes to cook. Your mouth waters at the thought.
It gets useless than you would think.
The soft-spoken feminine voice draws your attention from the left and behind. You turn to see a small couch set up against the wall, with an otter side seated cross-legged in the middle of it. I'm sorry?
The cooker unit. Only Bronca has an affinity for such things.
The otter brushes mechanical fingers, endoskeletal and not even covered in synth fur, down her arms as she nods to you.
Good day. I am Tomini.
At least, you think that's an otter. Her dress conceals much of her body from your sight. You cannot but wonder how much it hides further the cybernetic augmentation of her body. There is a good reason that you've never seen someone with what looks to be this machine-organic ratio. Most everybody just can't handle the level of mechanical interconnectivity. Clearly, you've just run into the rare exception to the rule.
It is rude to stare, I am told.
Her voice is stiff, and there is no trace of irritation to it, even as her head turns slowly to fix you with her violent gaze. She's right. You try your best to swallow your surprise. I'm sorry. You're right. I don't mean to be rude. It's nice to meet you, Tomini. I'm Rael.
I am not offended.
She sure sounds more machine than otter. Her voice is as flat as her stare.
Forgive me. I am presently processing final navigation data for the hyperlaunch. Social interaction is a distraction that I cannot presently afford. I apologize for any discomfort my presence may invoke.
It's not really her presence that's discomforting you. She seems less of a person than even Oba. You've known some Class 2 simulants who might have been more organic than Tolmany. But maybe that's just because she's processing? Perhaps with her work complete, she might be more personable, or person-ish. Regardless, you can't help professional curiosity. Everything that you learned at the IGA said that the upper limit for biomechanical augmentation was 50% of overall biomass. She is well past that, if you had to guess. You're not discomforting. If anything, I'm amazed. You're amazing. I would very much like to.
Apologies. I must focus. I will have time for social interaction later.
Oh, of course. Sorry. As you were. The dismissal feels rude. You feel the irritation bubble up, but it fades quickly. Her responses, her speech patterns, whatever Tolmany is, she's operating on more mechanical level right now, logical, cold, and personal. This isn't her at her best, you reason. Or if it is, you don't have to interact with her if you don't want to. You step back from the cyber otter and cast your gaze about the commissary again. Your eyes fall on the staircase that Oba mentioned, off just beyond the cooker station. As you make your way over to it, you can't help but shake your head. So far, every member of the Zuberi crew have been an oddball in one way or another. Sam's a bit of a hothead. Kalia too. Bronca seems friendly enough, maybe the exception. He did fold pretty quickly under pressure from Kalia though. And now this Tolmany. You've met Sibes before, but not quite so, that. As you climb the stairs, you can't help but hope that that's the worst of it. Oh, how wrong you are. If the cooker in the commissary was impressive, the observation deck takes your breath away. The room is a grand, domed circle. None of the walls are opaque. You feel like you could almost step out and onto the whole of the dreamer herself. Out behind the ship, you can see the endless black expanse of space, dotted by the pinpricks of stars. The infinite majesty and scope of the universe is laid out before you. It feels like home. To the front of the ship, however, you spot a similar view to what was just on the bridge, a star burning brightly. Yakeshi, if you had to guess, a massive stellar furnace of grav-bound nuclear fission. Corona arc off the surface of the star, arching into space and curving back inward again. It's bright, sure, but you don't feel a whisper of heat and your eyes don't burn out of your head. The dreamer's shields are certainly up to the task. From the forward sections of the ship below protrude the trio of raised nacelles angled forward and towards the star. You can see energy shimmering around the rim of them, drawing inward. Tachyon scopes, high-grade ones at that. Zuberi sure doesn't skimp on his ship. Hey, Rael, you made it! You turn at the sound of Bromka's voice. It's not the bear that catches your eye, but the cheetah beside him. That, wow. That is, a bold choice of clothing. Mizz, this is Rael, the guy the captain brought on from Yakeshi. Rael, this is Mizz. He is our junior sensor officer here. And, he's not currently in uniform. The cheetah's head is tilted upward as he watches you from behind folded arms. You can't help but notice the note of derision in his stare. You also can't help but notice just, how much that rope does not protect his modesty. Your eyes struggle to not draw down his body. Aren't you cold? The cheetah's eyes narrow. No. I am with Rael. I'm sure that it's comfortable being so, loose and free, but you're warm enough, right? You don't want my jacket? I do not. I have never needed your jacket. The cheetah sighs as he grits his teeth. His eyes don't leave you. But thank you anyway. You're welcome. You don't recognize the accent, but you definitely recognize the outfit. Core worlders are adopting it like wildfire lately. His custom job is expensive. Though their robes usually don't leave the wearer's modesty, so, well, non-existent. And you are, as our esteemed ship mind likes to call you, our new stray. Rael is fine. If Opal's not going to use it, maybe I can just get someone with a meat brain too. The glow of the edge of the cheetah's eyes brightens for a moment. Clearly, Ptolemy's not the only one aboard with augmentations, though his are far less pervasive. Please, there is only so much meat in my skull as there needs to be. And, all too often, more than I found in my traveling companions. Well, that's just rude. I'll try not to lower that standard further. Don't be like that, Rael, and don't let Mizz get you down. He's just a little guy with a little attitude. The cheetah bristles. I am a proportionally sized individual, sir. With a little attitude? With a lot of attitude. Bronca laughs again, and even Mizz cracks a little smile. Okay, maybe he's not all too serious after all. You can work with that. So, what brings you aboard the Dreamer, Mizz? The feline's smile slips. I'm afraid that's my business, Rael. Fair. Sharp, but fair. He's just trying to get to know you, Mizz. Come on. Perhaps he should be trying to get to know the ship and its duties first. Fraternizing is for those of us who know our place. So much for friendly banter. You can see that even Bronca's a little worried now. He's glancing between the two of you like he's waiting for someone to throw a punch. So, Rael? Captain didn't give you much grief? Didn't interrogate you too hard? Didn't talk your ears off about his precious ship? You could talk ships all day and night. Clearly Mizz cannot. No, it was fine. Asked a bunch about what I've got up to in my life. Bronca nods vigorously. You studied in the IGA, right? Mizz's ears perk up. He clearly knows that name. You must be joking. No, he's not. You should have seen Mom's face. I can imagine. My parents were thrilled when the comm came through. You didn't know that Bronca had also studied in the IGA. It's a small galaxy. You suppose that soft, friendly face belies an impressive intellect. Oh, wonderful. Another member of the glorious Institute for Galactic Advancement Brains Trust. As if one wasn't bad enough. The bear waves a paw idly in Mizz's direction. Don't mind him. He's just sore because he couldn't get in. The words immediately draw Mizz's ear. His eyes narrow and he bares his teeth. Despite that, you can still see the red of a blush burn in his ears. Embarrassment? My education was first rate, I'll have you know. I attended the finest academies and institutes on Tordera, toured 3 continents, and earned my certification. That's not a contest. He sniffs derisively as Bromkin frowns. The bear's unintentional insensitivity seems to be dawning on Bromka at last. Spoken like one who knows he can win. No, I mean it's not a contest because you beat me. I dropped out. Both Mizz and Bromka's gasp. Yep, that's the reaction that you're used to getting. No, I don't believe it. You dropped out? From the IGA? Yep, lost the scholarship and everything. You should have seen Mom's face then, too. The cheetah nods slowly to himself, Bromka's wincing as he glances away. I can only imagine. I'd rather not, myself. You wish that you could forget to.
Excuse me, gentle meatbags.
The 3 of you look up, though both Mizz and Bronca do so with no small amount of irritation. If it isn't my favorite digital overlord.
You would be blessed to count yourself among my subjects, kitten.
Mizz actually hisses at the projected voice of the integrated simulant. What can we do for you, Oba?
Hear that voice? That's what an enlightened being sounds like.
Oh yes, of course. How silly of me to not have noticed such a self-evident truth. She blasts another static burst at everyone in response.
I just thought that you'd like to know that we're about to disengage from stellar anger and jump into warp space.
Thanks for letting us know, Oba. From the irritation on Mizz's face and the face-palming Bromka is doing, it's clear that they find the simulant grating. You begin to wonder if the only one on the ship who truly likes Oba is Zuberi. Well, and you. You've nothing against her. Yet.
Maneuvering will begin in 1 minute. Hyperlaunch about 30 seconds afterwards. Rael, I've been asked to highlight your quarters for when you want to head over.
I appreciate it, Oba. Thank you. I'll go after the launch. There is a click from whatever was projecting her voice, and the stimulant falls silent. You glance back towards the star. The ship's nacelles have begun to retract. Hyperlaunch is imminent. As the stars outside of the ship start to shift with the vessel's movements, Mizz heaves a sigh. She's everywhere, always. Always watching, always listening. It becomes easier to deal with Rael. Don't worry. Sure it does. Oba likes to intrude on everyone, but you'll get used to her. Sure he will. You hold your tongue as the stars settle ahead of you. A subtle vibration runs through the length of the ship. The sublight drive bank, no doubt. And we're off. The three of you stand together as you turn your gaze away from the star behind you and to the stars ahead. Do you know where we're going first? It doesn't have a name, not yet. Just a main sequence star just about 700 light rimworlds from here. You whistle to yourself. 700 lights in one jump? The ship has more jump range than anything that you've ever seen. And you've seen a lot. 700 lights is a damn long jump. Well, get used to it. We go far. If not fast. The bear nods, though his eyes remain as fixed on the stars as Mizz's. Can't be fast, not when you can't be sure of where you're going. Sensors have a hard time picking up real space issues from warp space. You know very well. That's precisely the part of the problem that your navigational algorithm is meant to solve. Well, when it works. Still, 700 lights in a few hours isn't nothing. We wouldn't be able to do it if not for some new updated nav soft. I know, that's my soft you're running. Of course it is. And in your spare time you're also sitting high counselor, no doubt? No, really. It's my own code. I integrated the... Shh. I can feel it. You don't know what he's talking about for a moment, but then in the silence that follows, you can feel it too. It is a dull thrumming, almost like a building heartbeat rolling through the deck of the ship. It's the warp drive spooling up. You feel your blood quicken. You'll love this part. Too late to back out now, Rael. It all happens so quickly. One moment, space before the ship is the starry sky that you expect. Nothing out of place. Stars shining. Hull steady. The next, space itself seems to distort. The starlight bends from points into curved lines, drawn out around the sides of the hull. The brightness grows. The thrumming crackles. There's a flash of light outside, more blinding than the stars that you've just left behind. It fades almost instantly, but then you're there, warp space. Lights swirl around the dreamer as she surges through it. It bends like water before the bow of a seafaring vessel of old. Reds and blues and yellows and violets streak about you. The observation deck is bathed, as you are and your crew mates, in a multicolored kaleidoscope. It's beautiful. Well, it's exotic radiation from a region of space-time that you and your four-dimensional kin were never designed to experience, but the effect is beautiful nonetheless. You glance at the bear and cheetah. Bromka is staring at the vastness of warp space with an almost childlike wonder. His smile is warm. It glows brighter than the transdimensional space outside. Mizz doesn't seem nearly as interested. He yawns. All right, successful hyperlaunch. Go team, well done us. He leans back and lifts his arms up over his head in a distinctly feline stretch as he releases a long, ragged groan. I am going to sleep. Bronca gasps. No, you cannot. We got a new crewmate. Don't you want to spend a bit more time learning about him? Given you're on first shift along with Mizz and Zuberi, it's probably for the best that you also don't stay up too late. It's alright, Brom. I need to get some rest myself if I can. I've got first shift. The bear looks almost saddened to hear that. His shoulders sag. That is a shame. I think that it would have been nice to have you on duty with me. You'll still see me on third shift, as I'm told. And you get to avoid Kalia for most of your day this way. You smirk. That thought had occurred to you. From the smile that Mizz favors you with, you can tell how he feels about the ship's 2IC. She's not so bad once you get to know her, but fair enough. I guess we'll talk more after the shift tomorrow? Sure, we'll see. Besides, I've got that big reading thing apparently on, so there's that. Mizz groans and shakes his head. He needs to learn that not everyone is quite so willing to put themselves out there like that. Some of us prefer a modicum of privacy. That those words come out of his mouth while wearing that robe beggars disbelief. It's almost as though he caught you thinking that. He looks down at himself and then meets your gaze with a thin smile. I meant that as a generality, of course, non-specifically. Naturally. Bronco chuckles. The cheetah nods as he looks out into warp space one more time. Very well. Introductions done. Hyperlaunch observed. I will take my leave. Good night, gentles. Good night, Mizz. Sleep well. He nods again before he makes his way over to the stairs and vanishes down them, bounding over several at a time. You glance back at Bromka. He's staring out into warp space as well. Careful. You know that you can get warp madness if you watch it for too long. Ah, that's just an old spacer's tale. It's not a real medical condition. It most certainly isn't just an old spacer's tale. You've seen it firsthand. It's really just a consequence of overstimulated and irradiated neurons misfiring to induce seizures and hallucinations. Doesn't happen if you got the right shielding. That's somehow less comforting than the stories. The bear turns to you with a smile. So sleep easy. You're bunking down on the most reliable, most advanced, and most well-maintained starship in the entire AG fleet, with the friendliest doctor too. So I've got nothing to worry about? Good to know. He grins and nods to you. Go on now. Don't let me be the reason that you're kept up too late tonight. Have a good night. I'll try. Thanks, Brom. The bear nods back to you before he turns his attention back towards the colors of warp space. You turn away, leaving him to his fascination. Descending the stairs to the commissary again, you see that the otter, Tolmeni, is no longer present. Perhaps she retired to her room? Time you do the same, really. You make your way slowly to the main corridor that contains all the crew quarters. Oba did say that she lit yours specifically. As you glance up and down the corridor, sure enough, one of the doors is lit in a soft pulsing green light. I take it that's mine?
Your powers of deduction and spatial reasoning are a gift to us all, Stray. Well done.
On some level, it's useful that there is an omnipresent AI ready to tend to your every question and concern. On the other, there is an omnipresent AI always watching you. You're starting to see why much of the crew is wary of Oba. Thanks, Oba. You have a good night.
Every night's a good night when I'm around, and I'm always around.
That's not helpful. Your room is quite a bit larger than you might have expected. Of course, you don't really know quite what you should have expected. Sure, it's an exploration ship, but it's all top of the line. Your quarters are different, if a little Spartan. An entertainment unit is set up, no doubt with integration into the ship's system. On the other side of the room is a small table with a swiveling chair right besides. You imagine that the recess slot over the table is for supplying food and drink. Through the door besides it, you can see a refresher station. A quick peek inside stuns you. The waste receptacle is about what you'd expect, but there is a shower. A stars-damned shower with water. You've never seen a living spaceship with a water spewer before. There's such a waste of vital resources. You do know the telltale sonic emitters, either as a backup or alternative hygiene option, mounted within the refresher stall. At least you have options. Stepping out of the refresher again, you can see that the other end of your quarters is a sliding door. It opens under your gaze to reveal a wardrobe and storage drawer. Most of your limited belongings are already inside. The displacement unit installed in the Dreamer must really be something. You realize that you've been consistently underestimating Zuberi and his ship. Now it probably is the right time to stop. Finally, you turn away from the wardrobe and to the sleeping pad. It certainly looks a modern model, and easily large enough for two. You smile. The pad that you had growing up on a ship was barely big enough for you. This one's not only larger, but more advanced. A true treat. Modular, adaptive temperature, a compression field to simulate covers, and what looks like a recessed drawer on the wall behind it. You touch it and the drawer slides open. Sheets and blankets. A compression field is one thing, but sometimes the physical touch is necessary. It seems Zuberi also included some underwear for you, along with an Astrogation Guild uniform that seems to be in your size. The underwear selection, at least, seems varied enough. Okay. I'm gonna pick something and you guys are not gonna be able to see what it is. That minor detail of personal comfort aside, you push on the drawer and watch as it recedes back into the wall. You turn and sit down on the edge of your bed. Your day has not been long, but to say that it hasn't been backloaded would do it a disservice. You never really felt like a dirt sider. It always seemed instead like you belonged out there in the black. It's hard to get more out and more black than this. It's comforting in a way. Even as quiet as a dreamer runs, you can feel the vibrations in the deck, the subtle crackle in the air. The unique little factors that so many miss or fail to appreciate. Life shipside in all its glory. It's hard not to marvel at what Zuberi has built for himself here. A top-of-the-line deep space explorer, packed with the finest of tech. A mission to expand the boundaries of understanding. A simulant that seems to exceed the capabilities of any that you've ever seen before. A crew that, well, they're weird. But so are you. To be a part of it all is exactly the sort of thing that the IGA was trying to groom you for. At least now that you have the chance to set right whatever went wrong the last time your algorithm was used. The presence of a Sybe like Telmeni aboard gives you a little more hope than you'd otherwise have, if you can find a moment to discuss it with her. Well, assuming that she doesn't just look at your history and have Oba lock the door and vent the air in your quarters. You need to find out what went wrong, not just for your sake, but not for your sake either. You're just not sure yet how, and that scares you. You sigh and close your eyes. It's hard not to, but you know, you really shouldn't dwell on that. What's done is done, and it can't be changed. What's still ahead, that's something that you can affect. Tomorrow. You begin to peel off your clothes. From beneath your sleeping pads slides a new receptacle, and you're reminded once more that Oba is always watching. And now, at least, you're starting to emphasize with the crew that are distinctly unfond of the constant intrusion. Still, you can't help but appreciate the convenience. You unbuckle your belt and set it and your blaster down on the floor beside your sleeping pad. Your mag boots are next to go, all set up down next to your sleeping pad. You wiggle your toes against the deck. It's not as cold as you thought. Your shirt, pants, and underwear go into the receptacle next, leaving you otherwise completely naked. You flex your fingers, toes, and tail and breathe a quiet sigh. The shower tempts you, but your new home is still as new and different to you. You decide to spare the liquid shower for the night and resign yourself to the sonic option. Not refreshing yourself, of course. It's no option at all, not after Yakeshi Station. You notice that the system has already been set to lupine physiology. Consider it. The rhythmic pulsing of the sonic emitters washes over your body as soon as you step in and key the device on. It buffets you back and forth as you close your eyes. You feel your fur ripple as you sway there in the stall and find yourself lamenting that you didn't just go with the liquid shower. The temptation persists, but you squash it. When the cycle finishes a couple of minutes later, you sigh and step out again. You do feel better, of course, much cleaner than you were before. You glance longingly at the shower head. Oh, next time, for sure. The shower, of course, doesn't respond. As you return to your sleeping pad, Oba's already dimmed the lights for you. It's not going to help, but really, it's a nice thought. There is no point in putting it off. You need to sleep, regardless of how awake you feel. You sit on the side of the sleeping pad and roll down until you're laying on your back. A small light to your left against the alcove wall catches your eye. Oba?
Just a backup detachable terminal, Stray. What, were you afraid that I was training a hollow corridor on you while you sleep?
The thought hadn't occurred to you. Now that she's voiced it, you feel a chill work up your spine. Still, you reach up and trace the edge of the panel. Sure enough, the terminal pad pulls free. Larger than a reader. You cradle it in one paw as you lay back down. So, not a hollow corridor?
Oh, Stray, you have so much to learn. But you really think that I need a terminal to record you?
Fair point. A quick tap to the device lights up the interface. You shield your eyes briefly before tucking a paw behind your head. Data scrolls along the display, showing the status of the dreamer. A bit of light reading before bed never hurt, unless you needed to actually sleep. You smile as you tap the display off and reach up to set it back into its slot on the wall. After all, if you keep shining a bright light in your face, you'll never sleep. You can't be late for your first day of work. You settle back down onto the pad with your full-weighted sigh. The lights in your room begin to dim. Beneath you, you can feel the pad conforming to your body's weight and size. Your head is neatly supported as the pad lifts to meet it. As the lights go out entirely, you cannot but feel a tinge of unease. You know the day to come will arrive too soon, and who knows what with it. Your eyes close as you force your breathing to slow. And after a fitful hour or two of trying, you find yourself managing to finally drift off to sleep. So that was the prologue. Unexpectedly long. But yeah. So, and I'm sorry that I'm gonna keep doing this comparison, but like, if you've played Mass Effect, you could probably get the vibes of Mass Effect from this visual novel. Yeah. I made the choices that I made specifically so that you can see most of the characters. Captain's agreeable. His second in command, not so much, but probably for good reason. Bronca's seems nice. Cheetah Boy really needs to put some underwear on. The Cybe Otter, interesting. They remind me of, I'm gonna do it again, Edie, but also Oba. They both remind me of Edie, which is this in Mass Effect 2 and 3, in 2 specifically, you have a AI which is actually illegal, a sapient AI in the ship, in the I forgot what it was called already. Oh my god. But she's basically helping Joker, the navigator, run the ship. And at the beginning of Mass Effect 2, she's shackled because an AI is technically not supposed to be on board. And so they put shackles on it to keep it from being able to do certain things or being able to run certain systems. Towards the latter half of the game, she becomes unshackled in order to help protect the crew. And she becomes a bit more human-like throughout the course of Mass Effect 2 and 3, to the point where eventually in Mass Effect 3, she ends up gaining a body and she becomes a playable character. Well, not exactly playable character, but she becomes somebody that you can, take on missions. But yeah, that kind of gives me Oba vibes, but also is it Tomani? Where there are like, they straddle the line between man and machine. But yeah. What else? The whole little like point system again reminds me a little bit of like those type of games, like again, Mass Effect. It's hard for me not to make the distinction because that's one of my favorite games, the series. Even the ending of the third one. Because, space, you kind of have a background that kind of dictates a little bit of how the story is going to treat you. And like some of the like little point system, like determining how some of the conversations are going to go. But like, yeah. Aside from that, though, it's interesting. I mean, I don't know much about what's really going to happen yet, so I can't really make a distinction like, oh, I'm so excited for the story, like, because I need to see more in order to make that statement, I guess. As for the main character, Rael, I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing his name and everyone else's name, but like, what do you expect? It's me. I mispronounce names because I don't... Yes, it's just gonna happen. But I kind of feel like I could pick him up and throw him. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I say the same thing about Cryptid, but like... I say that about Cryptid because he's my friend. I'm saying this about him because I kind of feel like he's a little... goober. Again, the choice picking not to play it as Ace, despite the fact that that would make my life easier, with as far as YouTube is concerned and other stuff is concerned. It's more for the flavor text, I guess. Like I said, certain things will be censored. Certain NSFW scenes will be either censored, the words will be censored, the backgrounds will be blurred, or I would just completely remove them. It just depends. But yeah. So what are your thoughts on the prologue? Are you excited for this visual novel? Have you already read it? Did you pick different the different thingies at the beginning? Who's your favorite character so far? Do you agree that Mizz needs to put his junk away, please? But yeah, write it down in the comments, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Void Dreaming yourself, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page where you can download the game and play it yourself. I think they do have a Patreon now or something. I will be linking that down in the description as well as my my link for becoming a channel member so you can watch these videos as they're being scheduled. And I know some people can't because it's not available in your country, so like, oh well, it's fine, don't worry. You'll see it. It's maybe like a week or two in advance, okay? Usually 2, if I can help it. What else? Also Ko-fi, in case you want to support me through there. It helps supporting the channel, and either Ko-fi or channel membership. And also Throne, in case you feel so compelled. All those things will be linked down in the description. So yeah. Anyway, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.